if somebody cannot lose weight, this is a big thing. People want to lose weight. How can an impaired gut or gut function stop somebody from losing weight, even though they're trying to lower calories?
It's never that simple. There's never one single thing that can be done. But what is important are the satiety. Well, first of all, the satiety hormones, the hormones that tell us that you are full, that you are satisfied, that you've had enough to eat. This is where ultra-processed foods illustrate this point very nicely, because ultra-processed foods are processed to give a nice feeling in the mouth, the right textures of smoothness, of succulence that tell the brain, that's a nice food. It's got fat in it. It's got sugars in it. It's got some protein in it. That tastes good. But it doesn't. They don't fool the gut. They don't fool the gut hormones. So those foods are swallowed, but you then do not get the release of essential satiety hormones like leptins and ghrelins that tell you you've had enough to eat. You're not hungry anymore. You don't need any more food. And that will drive obesity, because these people are hungry all the time, and the more they eat, the hungrier they get. A major issue has to do with the thyroid, and the underactive thyroid is extremely common. And the first thing I like people to do is to do a paleo-ketogenic diet, low in carbohydrate, high in fats, because we should be fueling our body with fats. But to be able to fat burn, you have to have some thyroid hormones there. Now, the underactive thyroid is very common. Indeed, my guess, and it's only a guess, is that one of the commonest causes of an underactive thyroid is excessive alcohol consumption. We know alcohol is very toxic to the thyroid gland, and if you drink too much, you will knock out your thyroid gland. But there are many other causes of underactive thyroid. Lack of iodine, and we're all iodine deficient without iodine supplements. The thyroid is particularly susceptible to viral infection. In fact, we know that COVID-19 infection will cause has a potential to knock out your thyroid gland. So I know that's less to do with the gut, but it's an important factor. That difficulty losing weight is often a symptom of gut health. But in my experience, it's more commonly due to an underactive thyroid issue.
What are the symptoms that people would understand to see, like they could visibly see, I have a gut problem? It's very clear. What would be the symptoms?
Okay. Well, one very obvious symptom is the size of the stomach. So, and this is predicated on some lovely work done by a researcher called Caroline Pond. Now, she asked the question, where do wild animals store their fat when they store their excess calories when there's excess food? Because in the autumn, there's an abundance of food. There's lots of grass, there's lots of berries, there's lots of roots, there's lots of nuts, and wild animals have the potential to get fat. And of course, that's important survival value for the winter. So when she was cycling into work every morning to Milton Keynes University, she would pick up roadkill and dissect it. And what she found is that those animals dump fat where the immune system is busy. Now, that makes perfect sense. And for wild animals, that was around their lymph nodes, because they're obviously prone to accidents, to getting cuts, to getting bruises, and they need a strong immune system to fight any infection there, and also for healing and repair. So she established we dump fat where the immune system is busy. Now, if you've got an upper fermenting gut, then you've got a leaky gut with potential for those microbes to leak out of the gut into the bloodstream. And that's where the immune system needs to be busy, and that's where fat is dumped. So if you are apple-shaped, if you've got a big tummy that's big, then that's a very powerful clue that you've got an upper fermenting gut. And we know people who are apple-shaped are at greater risk of heart disease, for example. And I've often wondered why that should be. And the answer is they've got all these bacteria and yeast spilling into the bloodstream, and that drives inflammation. And inflammation anywhere in the body will drive pathology. So that's often a very useful clue. Another useful clue is fatigue. Foggy brain. They just don't have the brain power. They don't have the energy that they need. And my view is that, now modern humans are much more fatigued than we ever used to be. You look at the old television programs like Z Cars and those sort of programs. They were all slim. They all every policeman you saw was slim and running around and busy. Every people in the street was slim and running around and busy and active. But it's not so. I mean, being overweight and being apple-shaped has now become the new norm. So just being overweight and fatigued with an apple shape is a major major clue that there are gut problems. And then we have symptoms that are local to the gut. So probably the obvious one of upper fermenting gut would be heartburn, hiatus hernia, regurgitation, cough at night, acidity, indigestion, bloating, of course, is a cardinal symptom. These are all gut symptoms that we can get, which are typical of the upper fermenting gut. And some people think, oh, I'll wait for those gut symptoms to arrive before I diagnose it. No, look at the bigger picture. Look at your energy levels. Look at how your brain's functioning. That gives you a much more important clue. And then, of course, there are sometimes symptoms of the lower gut problems, such as constipation, slow gut transit time, noisy gut, borborygmi as they're called, when you hear it churning and rumbling away. Those may point to problems in the lower gut. And of course, pain. And gut pain, muscle spasm is the nastiest pain you can experience. Any woman who's been in labor, anybody who's had gallstones or renal stones can testify to the fact that muscle spasm is extremely painful. So any of those symptoms are going to tell you you've got gut problems. And the fact of the matter is, pretty much all Western pathology starts in the gut. And it doesn't matter for what reason people come and see me, whether it's because they've got headaches or asthma or arthritis, I always start off sorting the gut out. And sometimes that's all you have to do for things to drop into place.